think we're live. Welcome, everybody, to 2J's at Night. First episode streaming live. I'm your host, Jordan. With me is another host, co-host, my brother, Jeremy.
Howdy, howdy. We hope we're live anyway. We don't know what we're doing. Oh, I see on my phone we are in fact live.
We are, in fact, live.
Broadcasting to the world live. 2J's at Night. Find us on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. We'll work on getting some other social media set up. I myself have been banned from social media a couple times, so I have a hard time creating accounts, but we're going to get it figured out. We're getting there. But for now, find us on YouTube. If you're watching us, then you probably found us on YouTube, so tell a friend. But yeah, how's it going up in the wild north of Maine?
The north is, it's been good. It's been getting colder for sure. We've been seeing some cold nights.
Yeah, we've seen a few cold nights here.
And some more snow, I think. You've seen the whole East Coast, in large at least, has seen more snow.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it a whole lot, but I guess I saw, I don't know, it might have been last week even, that the National Weather Service of Pittsburgh, I feel like we talked about this on the last episode, but maybe not, I don't know. They said that this from October to February, this is the 8th most amount of snow that the western area of Pennsylvania has gotten on recorded history.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I was pretty surprised by that. I don't know. I mean, we've been getting snow. It just doesn't, the winters growing up always just seemed a little bit more extreme than what we're getting now. But we have been getting some, and it's been cool. I mean, there's been, between 6 and 10 inches of snow on the ground for going on 2 weeks now.
Wow.
So pretty cool. And they say that a harsh winter like this makes for a really good grow season for your gardens and stuff.
That's good.
So, well, and you think about it too. It's a lot of moisture. It's a lot of water.
Right.
It's improving the water table for sure. When all that snow starts melting, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rainwater just instantly, hydrating everything, and so yeah.
I think a good cold winter too makes sure that all the fungi and bacteria goes to sleep. I think it's supposed to kind of help reduce the pests that plague certain crops and things like that. So
I wonder if it helps destroy moss. I'll tell you what, man, moss is relentless.
Moss?
I've got it. Moss, yeah, I've got it in my
it
yard.
Doesn't. Dude, it loves Maine. It loves it up here. Moss loves the snow.
See, that's what I was worried about. That stuff's probably just going nuts.
It's like evergreen. You give it a little sunlight, even in the winter, it'll grow a bit. That's not what you want to hear.
No, I have been fighting a battle with the moss for this will be entering year 2 now, I guess, since I really started taking on this battle against the moss, and I just don't know what to do. It's intense.
What are your efforts? What are you trying to do? Are you just cutting it out, or are you're dumping?
Well, it's in the backyard. I did, because what ended up happening back there was I would throw the ball with Duncan, and it was so far out that he would have a head of steam built up, so he'd go flying out there. And then he would slam on the brakes to get the ball, and he was just tearing up.
Oh, sliding around.
Tearing stuff up. So I was like, you know what? And there was a bunch of moss out there. So I was like, well, if he's just tearing a lot of that up for me, then I'm going to keep throwing the ball out there, let him tear it up. And that was like, would have been two winters ago. Not last winter. Last winter. So a winter ago, this was going on. And then when spring rolled around, I was like, oh, I'll just go out there now and finish whatever's not ripped up. And so that's what I did. And I mean, I took cartloads of moss out that I ripped up and threw in the cart. And yeah, and I sowed some grass.
Good stuff to add into the garden as if you let it dry out and use it as compost.
Well, it's at the base of all the leaves and the grass and stuff that I started composting. So
nice.
It is in there.
Good.
But I sowed some grass, and then like the spring was weird, and the grass never really took off. I mean, it grew a little bit, but it didn't take off as much as I was hoping. And now it just seems like the moss is kind of making a comeback. So that was there. And I tried another strategy up by the shed where I actually took, I went and bought a moss killer at a local hardware store. And, they told me, they were like, this stuff it's not chemically, it won't hurt your drinking water, all that stuff.
Right.
So I tried that, and it worked, but the stuff is pricey, and I didn't get enough of it to where it worked well enough, because you have to go scorched earth with the stuff. You got to make sure it is gone. And, but on top of that, I'm just liming the heck out of my property, out of my grass line, just liming the heck out of it.
Yeah.
I limed the heck out of this fall. I'm going to lime the heck out of it again in the spring. And just try to bring that acidity. It's acidic soil that makes the moss grow, I believe. So try to bring that, the acidic content down a little bit, and hopefully that'll starve it out a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, grass is very competitive. It should be, it should be able to outcompete it if you give it the favorable growing conditions, I would think.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing I'm going to do too. This spring, I am going to give the lawn like a weed and feed. And it honestly, it has nothing. I don't care about what it looks like so much. I have water problems and stuff like that, and good grass, thick grass can help with that to a degree.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's really why I'm trying to work at getting this better, and it's nice for the kids too. It is nice for the kids to be able to play on.
How do you know like how compacted your soil is? Is it very clay based? Is it very compacted?
That I don't know. I've never taken a sample. The stuff that I've dug into has been typical Western PA, very rocky.
Yeah.
Not big rocks like back home on the mountain. More like shale rock, kind of. It's almost like you're digging through a Butterfinger.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, like chunky pieces.
Yeah. And so a lot of that, and I don't know, it's probably kind of hard, but I don't think it'd be like clayish necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what the lime should in theory help that as well, I believe, right? Helps like soften your soil too, doesn't it?
I think that kind of would make sense.
I think. I could be wrong about that. An aerator would be something I think that would be good for me to get. One of those things that it like punches holes in the yard.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
And more moisture can get in, and like you were sort of saying, it helps, give some more space for the grass roots to grow and really deepen into the soil.
Yeah.
And retain moisture and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. So so I don't know. We'll see what it looks like in the spring. But yeah, my battle with the moss marches on. We'll continue. We'll continue.
That's so funny. considering here it's like there's moss everywhere too. It just grows, but it's a little different, I think, than what you got down there.
Oh, definitely it is. Yeah, moss is really weird stuff. Because it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like walking on moss,
Mm,
you won't find carpet in a house that is as soft as moss. Like
true.
it is so cool to walk on.
Yeah, yeah.
But when it gets wet and it's muddy and stuff outside, dude, that stuff will take you down as quick as ice. Um, and the thing is, it rolls up like carpet too. Like it's so loose, the roots are so shallow. Like it
Yeah.
just kind of grows right on top of the dirt. So that's more what happens when you slip on it, is that it's the whole thing is just sliding.
Just tears up.
Mud on mud, and then it's a mess.
It is a mess.
Yeah. So trying to get rid of that, and I got a bunch of it down by the creek too. I'd love to turn all that into decent grass too, but especially because I got the fire pit and stuff down there. It'd be nice to have better walking area.
Yeah.
Where it's really just kind of nasty, and that ground is really very rocky. I mean, there's a lot of rocks and stuff down there. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Just have to really overhaul it and really, yeah. With the moss, because it wants to come, it's so tenacious. You got to just really smother it out.
Yeah, for sure. You got to stay on top of it. But for right
how's
now,
how's the Bitcoin wallet and all that going? You got transferred to a cold storage, right?
I did. This past weekend, I transferred to my personal wallet, and it was an interesting ride. But I have a much better understanding of what the technology actually is with regards to the wallet. Basically, your wallet is a file that is stored on your computer or wherever you choose to move it to. I think I'm probably going to move mine off onto an external hard drive here at some point in the very near future. But then what you can do is you can just move it. So the company who you go through, I used Electrum, for example. That is the application that you put on your computer. And that is the application that understands how to access these files. So the application itself will always just stay on your computer, but you can actually grab that specific file, the wallet, and move it wherever you want,
Okay.
And then you can just move it back. Now, I mean, that's a whole nother extra step of, you can duplicate that file, I would presume. So you could keep one on your computer and one on an external hard drive,
Back
like a
up.
thumb drive or something. Yeah, exactly. Or have maybe two thumb drives even, where you just put one that's like in a fireproof safe, and then another one that you can access more easily.
Right.
Something like that. But the other thing is that the file itself is encrypted as well. And with Electrum, you can set it up to where you can have it require two-factor authentication to open the wallet. All kinds of stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of security you can put on it. But so then once I got in there, I mean, it's interesting. I still don't fully understand everything that's going on, but I understand enough to generate an address, and I can receive coins via that address, in perpetuity, I believe.
We'll have to put our addresses in the show notes then, if anyone wants to send us Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I was thinking, once you get yours set up, I'd like to.
I have one actually too.
Oh, you do? Okay. I'd like to. We should mess around. Send each
Let's
other
do it.
like little chunks of Bitcoin to get used. I want to see how it works and stuff.
Yeah. I really want to try the actual cold storage version because mine is not a full cold storage one, but I wanted to try where you do the signing it actually. You put it transfer it onto the USB, and then move it onto your cold computer or laptop, and then you sign it actually, and then you save it, and then transfer it back to the connected computer, to the online computer, and you broadcast it then to the blockchain. I don't know if is that what you were doing?
Not really. See, so I don't understand the difference between, so a full cold storage wallet is one where you're like air gapped. Is that what a full blown like cold storage wallet is?
The one I was thinking is where you have like a laptop that never goes online. Period.
Yeah, that's what you call an air gap.
Yeah. Okay. Air gap. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. And all your transactions, even well, if you want to do transactions, I mean, you're obviously not going to use that one for daily transactions because that'd be ridiculous. But anytime you do it, you actually like have to bring a little USB over, plug it in, and sign the transaction and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah. See, that I don't fully understand either, because I didn't have to sign anything to get my coins.
Right, not to receive, to send. If you were like, if I needed to pay something from it or to send it from somewhere, I guess that's sign something. Yeah.
Okay. See, that's why we need to mess around with it then. Yeah. So I guess that ultimately, like, I have a hot wallet.
Okay.
But I won't at the same time, because I'm going to move my wallet off the machine.
And then I gotcha.
So it'll kind of be cold storage, but it kind of won't either, because I won't be able to access it without the hot wallet, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So
here's a question for you then. So you have the Electrum wallet, and it's the hot wallet is the one that you're using to like actually send and receive stuff, right?
Yeah, that's to my understanding, that's the difference between the cold and the hot wallet, right? Is that the cold, it's the same client, the same application is installed on both. It's just that the cold wallet is the air-gapped computer, because it's never going to be live, right? That's what makes it cold. Where the hot wallet is the one that is like mine right now, is when I fire up the laptop, that thing is technically connected and ready to roll whenever I would want to use it. It's attached to the network.
And if you the one that you had on the offline machine, if you just copied the file and put it over there, it has the record of, or the file of your Bitcoin and the blockchain and everything. So if you deleted it off of your hot computer, then, but you could just also then download the Electrum app again, and just from your key phrase, can't you somehow like read it
from your seed?
From your seed, yes.
Which is a 12 word mnemonic.
Right.
So yeah, with that seed, if heaven forbid my house burned to the ground tonight, and I'm talking like the concrete melted, the house burned so much,
right?
I could still go to the hardware store tomorrow, the computer store tomorrow. But I'm thinking computer hardware. Go to the computer store tomorrow, buy a new laptop, download Electrum, pop in my seed, and presto, I have access to my money, my Bitcoin, my finances again, instantly. You have to know the seed. You forget the seed, You lose the seed, you're done. And that's what's happening to a lot of. I think that's what happens to a lot of these people
Right.
that are losing money because it's just disappearing. Is because they set up the wallets and now they've lost the seeds and
Yeah.
they don't have this USB stick that they put it on or whatever because they didn't care, you
Right.
know.
It's like cash. If you put a bunch of money in a suitcase and then you know leave it
Yeah,
somewhere and forget about it.
100%, 100%. The only thing that makes it different is, nobody's ever going to find this.
Right. That's true.
Right. With cash, somebody sooner or later, somebody's going to stumble across the suitcase. It washes up on the beach in Florida, and
Right.
and somebody finds the cash and the drugs and the guns and
Yeah.
whereas with this, nobody's going to find it. It's just not going to get found because nobody's going to crack the code. I don't know how you would even know how to find the wallet properly.
Yeah. I'm not sure and even if it's the whole the whole idea of them seeking out my wallet, it's like seems ridiculous.
Yeah,
And that might
I think.
be honest,
Well,
guys.
and I think that the only way that they can find your wallet is if they're sniffing around to a connected computer, and that's why they recommend you to go cold on an air gap, because then you just move that whole file off of the hot one.
Yeah.
That way, if somebody does throw a program on and they're just looking for that wallet file, they're not going to find it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not going to be there. And they won't be able to find it on the air gapped laptop because that thing's never, it has lived its life under a rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, it's not going to they're not going to be able to get to that either. So
you would have to think that the exchanges would be the bigger target just because
they are.
Have multiple people and more Bitcoin at risk.
Yeah. And what's interesting about the exchanges too is that they're very tricky about the language that they use to describe how they're insuring your funds.
Right.
Because they say that they'll insure your funds. How does it work? They say such percentage of it that's in cold storage, but that's
in that vault that they have.
Yeah, but that's the misdirection, because they only keep like 5% of the stuff in cold storage anyway.
Right.
So, and I was reading an article just the other day that some what was the site, something.io. I can't remember what the site was, but they got hacked. They lost I can't remember. It was big money in coins. Because the online exchanges are the targets. I mean, these are hot wallets that are stored, that are centralized.
Yeah.
Right.
Cloud server.
Wallets. So those are definitely the targets, and that is why it's recommended that you get your coins off the exchange. Now, that's how Coinbase makes money, right? That's what I learned this weekend, is that it costs to take your coins off the exchange. And I don't understand all of that stuff. I'm not a grabbler, so I don't understand how to grabble that well. So when they start talking about spread margins and percentage this and taking that from you, I'm like, I don't get it. So I don't and I've been looking for an explanation, because Lena does understand that stuff. So I've been looking for an explanation of it so that she can be like, oh, here's how it's going to be. Because I don't even remember where I saw the explanation for it. I thought that I saw an explanation for it.
Well, I was just I was interested in possibly signing up for that Coinbase app, and I started going through the process, and I was reading through the terms of conditions, and it goes into detail about a fee that they charge for exchanges, and I forget, they they sort of seem to explain that there was like that, when you sell, well, no, this was for withdrawing your Bitcoin. Yeah, this is just for withdrawing your Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I found that policy on Coinbase, and that makes sense to me. I get it. They charge either I can't remember, it's either a percentage or a flat rate, depending on this, that, or the other thing. But no, that I was charged for taking coins off of the exchange for the payment that I sent to my wallet, for the money that I sent. I was charged for that. Yeah. And it wasn't like outrageous, but it was more than I was anticipating. I think all told it ended up being around $20 that I paid to, whatever that works out to in Bitcoin. That's what I paid to get my coin off of the exchange, which I was a little upset about. But then I realized, hey, now that it's off the exchange, if I want to send you $25 for some reason,
nothing, or, man, no fee,
0.00001 Bitcoin or whatever, yeah, no fee, and it happens instantly. Not instantly,
not quite.
Backtrack, not instantly, but within like a half hour. That thing is verified on the chain, and it's your coin at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting, and hey, it just continues to go up. Look, I am an idiot. I don't give financial advice, but I bought Bitcoin for the first time 2 weeks ago. Was it that I told you I bought? Maybe 2.5. It was right. It was during the Wall Street bets stuff.
I think it was a little bit 3 weeks. It was because I bought mine on like January 29th, I think, somewhere in there.
Okay.
A little before that.
So going on a month, and I have almost, I'm close to 100% increase on my investment. So, and people say, oh, wow, we had this conversation last week, oh, well, it's still US dollars, whatever. Well, not to me. It's not. I mean, I still don't know how to tell you, the coffee at the coffee shop costs whatever Bitcoin. But to me, I'm in it for the Bitcoin, and it's cool to see the US dollar price on it. And to me, it's kind of like, I don't know, if the US dollar stays relevant and in play and the currency of choice, and in 10 years, Bitcoin's kind of out there and still kind of, I don't know, doing something.
Still an asset.
I can cash in if I feel like I need to or want to, and and that's the thing of it to me, is that like Owen Benjamin and Crow, they're like, oh, Bitcoin's fake, it's imaginary, and I get that. It kind of is, sure. So is the US dollar, and that's why, to me, these systems of commerce are going to be around. Somehow there's going to have to be a system of commerce. So I'm just trying to be involved in what could be coming down the pike. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
You can look through history, and throughout every rise and fall of any major empire, there's always a currency system that supersedes, or that is subsequent after the barter and trade kind of marketing, right? It's like, in order to grow into a little bit more of a flexible economy, like some sort of a value commodity trading, into some sort of fiat, kind of currency system is inevitable. And yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that it's interesting. I'm hoping that I'm trying to move my sort of paradigm, my thoughts, my intention into Bitcoin more. And I'm hoping that I have this idea that perhaps it's sort of like that theory of whenever you never have heard of the Volkswagen bug car or whatever. And then when you first hear about it, you start seeing them everywhere, right?
Mhm.
I'm hoping that like as I try to turn my intention and attention towards Bitcoin, that I will be able to find those companies that are selling some coffee. Even if it's online, if it's made in America or something, I'll try and do local.
Yeah.
And that's why in my business that I'm starting up, I'll be certainly accepting Bitcoin,
Yeah. Well,
promoting
and
it
I,
actually heavily, indeed.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think too, maybe not for you personally, but for some people, and maybe I'm thinking out loud to myself here right now. Uh, there's a chance to make money for people, or because maybe the local businesses don't want to have to totally learn how to use this stuff, but business people are business people, and they surely can see the potential of not having to pay MasterCard 3% every time that somebody makes a transaction at their store. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
and being able to just have access to that funding instantly.
yeah.
Um, without two or three middlemen. Um,
Well,
and
I'll tell you
so
what. I've
maybe
been looking. There's actually some software that I've been looking at. It's called BT. Should I blow it up? Yeah, I'll blow it up. BTC Pay, and it is a point of sale Bitcoin free
I think I've heard of it.
source software. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I
no
think I've heard of it.
transaction fees, and you can actually buy some hardware and then set up your own, like node hosting service.
Mhm.
uh, Essentially be your own, and you can offer to host other people's, like little exchanges. Essentially, it's essentially
Interesting.
creating your own exchange.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. See, um, somebody like me who has some technical know-how could go to these small businesses and say, "Hey, look, how much are you paying a year to MasterCard right now in fees? How much do you pay to Visa every year because you have to use their POS system?" Which, by the way, I find it riotous
Yeah,
that it's called a POS system. I just I can't, because when I think POS, I think piece of.
yeah.
So I all the time
And a
when I
lot
hear
of POSs are POSs.
exactly. Um, but just how much are you paying to these companies a year? And well, I'll tell you what, for 60% of that, I will come in, I will set this up for you, you know, and maybe now I'd have to make that price less because it's not that widely adopted yet, but
Sure.
still, hey, for 40% of that, I will come in and set this up for you. And if you have any questions, here's my contact information. This stuff is covered under that initial fee.
Yeah.
Additional stuff will cost this, that, or the other. And just kind of start your own little thing like that, where you're kind of managing this stuff for local businesses because they don't have the time to deal with it. They don't want to figure it out
True.
because it can be confusing, and they got other things to worry about.
You're
But
totally right, Jeremy. Uh, there is almost unlimited potential, and it's only a matter of individuals seizing upon the
yeah,
intellectual property that can unleash that potential.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of Visa and Mastercard, and they're taking money, robbing from the poor to feed the rich. Um, there's something cool on Twitter that I've come across recently, and I know Jack Murphy has been promoting it on his Twitter recently as well. I don't know who started the idea, but it's a hashtag that is Bet on Main Street, and the concept is buy local, pay in cash, and over tip. Because then your local businesses are not losing out on your transaction by having to give that money to, whoever their POS provider is.
Yeah.
There's a Twitter account for it set up. It's Bet on Main Street, and they're out there promoting this. You can take a picture of your receipt and some change and stuff, and they'll promote it for you, and you can promote the local business that you were at as well, and they'll tweet it out. It's a really cool idea. I recommend people get on board and join in, and that's another way. I mean, it's just fiat currency, and whether it's Bitcoins or whether it's paper US dollars, it is something that you are taking more control of. When you have cash in hand, you are taking more of that third party out of your life. The same with the Bitcoin. So
the flow of money is a big deal, and if you can,
it is.
You can stay local too is a big deal. If you can, if you want a thriving community where you're living, then put that money into the community.
Yep, and that's their thing. Put money back into your community, and that's the best way to do it, is to buy local, give them cash, and give them extra.
I'm feeling pretty positive. I really like this Bitcoin idea too. The more I've been learning about it, I feel like it has potential to really allow independent people to really break free if they need to. It's like if enough people, like you're saying, really have this mindset of what a Bitcoin's worth is a Bitcoin, and you can find like-minded individuals that have that shared vision, then it doesn't matter what the United States Federal Reserve does, how much money they're printing. It's two individuals, trading goods based on their idea of what Bitcoins are worth, and that's I think powerful. It's something that the elite are terrified of. I don't know. I think there's a great potential for it. I have some.
Well, and that was what was interesting about that Secrets of Saturn podcast that we were talking about last episode too. Was that Crow kept saying, I want something that has the same value today as it does tomorrow and 100 years from now, and what you just said is I'm surprised that Jaron didn't push it a little harder. A Bitcoin is a Bitcoin, right? Like a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin today. Yeah, it's 50,000 US dollars or whatever today, but to me, that doesn't matter. Like a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I don't own a whole Bitcoin yet. I would love to become a Bitcoinaire, and I'm not there yet. So that's all that I'm worried about, and like I said, that's my mindset right now. If in 30 years, Bitcoin's plateaued at $200,000 a coin, well, I've still made a decent little chunk of change, and I can cash out and do whatever I want with it, if the American dollar's still running around or whatever's going on, So, I don't know. I just don't see a reason to, totally shun the whole thing, what some people are so hell bent on doing. To me, it's a tool. It's a tool that you can use to gain some independence. I don't know.
And just I saw an article recently that Bill Gates, I don't know if you're allowed to say that, he said that it is that cryptocurrency in general, this was something, it's a critical thing that the world should do without, that would be better off without.
Oh, really?
So that when you know which direction you should go in when you hear.
Yeah. Well, you got to think that's like a head fake too, right? Because
I think so, to be honest.
I mean,
exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, come on, that Microsoft nanotech is like linked to digital currency.
Exactly.
So Like you just can't listen to anything these people say, man. That's
I know,
that's
right?
the moral of the story. They talk out both sides of their mouth. I think is how the old saying goes. Uh, you're not getting any straight shots from them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's crazy. I can't believe he actually had the testicular fortitude to say that. I doubt it. I doubt it. Too funny. Too funny.
Well, I don't know if we want to do a hard kind of pivot here or not. Did you have something on your mind this week that you wanted to
Uh,
the discussion
nothing in
field?
particular. Nothing in particular. I mean, I definitely have some stuff we can chat about, but you know, I don't care. I'm
Well,
open
this
to
is.
whatever.
I'll show you some stuff. This may lead into a discussion. If not, we can probably move on fairly quickly from it. But I'll share my screen here. Oh,
That's what you think.
oh, that's what I think.
There you go.
Yeah. There we go. So, uh, I this is something that's been of an interest to me for a long time. Power generation, right? How do we generate electricity? How do we generate torque for an engine? To be able to output force. And
Mm-hmm.
this is actually fairly interesting. So this came up in another podcast, um, and I was kind of reflecting, and I realized that when I first came up to Maine, and I was working at a place that had a dormitory with a lot of shared, uh, you know, bunk bed spaces, and staff from Europe and Central Europe and South America, all different places. And I bunked with a number of Serbian guys, and they knew a lot about Nikola Tesla actually, and they had put on a documentary about him, and I missed like pretty much all of it. And I think I walked in on like the last 10 minutes of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it just that got me thinking about that. And but anyway, so Nikola Tesla, this gentleman, was a genius, and
Okay.
he's got some interesting patents. Um, Electromagnetic motor is one of them, dated 1889, and essentially he developed a design for a permanent magnetic motor where you had magnets aligned on the outside, fixed in place by some sort of structure, and then a shaft in the middle with other magnets around it. And by means of various different things, either through some electric pulsing or through heat, he was able to establish a magnetic field and then get this thing to start rotating and produce electricity essentially.
Is
And
is is this the Tesla coil?
part of it, he uses Tesla coils, I believe, in within this. He's got a number of other patents that include some different coils and things.
Uh-huh.
I'll show you a couple of them here. I think these are some of the coils, like here. Yeah, Tesla coils. Um, and another one here, this thermomagnetic motor, where applying a heat to a magnet, he's able to essentially discharge the magnetic force, which then allows us the spring to engage, and this magnet moves, thereby removing from the heat, and then the magnetic force reignites and it moves back. So again, it has this perpetual pendulum motion to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
so some of these ideas were obviously kind of just squashed a bit once Tesla passed away, and or he, but other people have actually started to develop some of these ideas a bit.
Oh yeah.
Pretty interesting stuff, man.
Yeah.
Using 3D printed components.
Get out.
They're embedding magnets into them, and this guy actually has a patent. I believe it's in France. Obviously, you can see all the French
yeah.
stuff around. But here's the U.S. patent for it. Permanent magnetic machine, where this thing is able to supposedly, obviously, I don't think I haven't seen a video of it yet.
Like a proof of concept or whatever.
What's that?
Would that be like a proof of concept, or no? I guess that.
Well, the patents
proof of concept.
The patents just need to have claims. So as you can see, they just have claims what it can do, but it doesn't have it hasn't been proven yet. But proof of concept would usually be like a scaled down version. That's a proof of concept right here.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I haven't seen any videos of it. As you can see, the language is all French. There's multiple versions. There's schematics drawn with dimensions, fully dimensioned out. And you can see the construction. You can see all the angles that they put the angle, the magnets.
Interesting.
And then embed them. These are where all the magnets get embedded into.
Very interesting.
And then the middle piece slides inside of all this. So there's the completed version. So then here's all the magnets. This piece slides inside, and that magnetic force spins it.
Gotcha.
And here's an example of the magnetic forces in action there.
Huh. That is way interesting. What did Tesla say? If you want to understand the universe, you need to understand frequency and vibration.
And vibrations, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are some interesting people. I won't blow them up on here yet, but interesting people also experimenting with this here in the United States as well.
Oh yeah.
And the idea is that there's one of you could 3D print one of these, buy the magnets off of easily sourced place online.
Yeah.
You basically construct this thing, and a small one that's like maybe like this big. I think that's about the size. Can produce almost enough electricity for your entire home, for a small home. And so there are, in addition to Bitcoin, there are some other ideas for.
Yeah. Well,
our 3D
printers. Well. Yeah, 3D printers are game changers for sure. I mean, to be able to manufacture stuff like parts like that,
right?
That's incredible. To be able to do stuff like that. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Tesla. I know obviously that people are constantly impressed with his ideas and his work, but I'm not overly familiar with it. And it's stuff that he worked with stuff that I'm not very good with either. I mean, obviously, I don't even know what a coil is exactly.
Yeah.
But what is a coil? Do you know what a coil is? Like, is that what kind of retains or kind of helps conduct the charge?
It's I thought here it is. I'm not exactly sure what. No, I can't say that I know. I think it's something to do with the relation between having the current in a spiral, right, in the coil.
Mm-hmm.
Something about all that electric flowing maybe creates magnetism in some way.
I don't know. Well, because
Maybe it interacts with the electromagnetic field of Earth.
mm,
I don't know.
well,
He talked a lot about harnessing space waves and electromagnetic, the tapping into the uh, electromagnetic, sphere of the Earth.
yeah. Well, but aren't there coils? There are coils that are used today, not his coils,
Hmm.
but coils are used in I don't know what, but I'm pretty sure that coils are used in different types of circuitry or something today, right?
Oh yeah.
Or am I? Yeah.
No, you're right.
So,
It's called induction. If you have that's how basically all electric generation is made. It's when you heat the
right.
steam and you spin a turbine, and then you have magnets spinning around either coils or coils spinning around magnets. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Huh.
So it is fascinating ideas, and this was something I just kind of brought up. There is now a Tesla tower supposedly popping up in in Texas. This thing is super phallic, though, I'll say.
Dude, they always are, man, and it's really weird. I don't even want to get into that stuff. It weirds me out. It weirds me out. Dude,
the real Tesla tower, though.
His newest rocket. Did you see the newest rocket thing? The Falcon or whatever?
Oh no, I'm saying this Tesla tower was built. This was like Nikola Tesla.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah, I totally get it. But I'm saying, did you see the newest one? The one that they tried to land the other day, last week? Oh my goodness! Look that thing up. It's like straight out of Austin Powers.
SpaceX shuttle landing or what?
Yeah, I guess rocket landing, something like that. I don't know. Wait till you see this thing. I mean, that's not it. That is not it. There it is. That SpaceX prototype. That's probably it right there. SpaceX. little risque there with that wording.
Sounds like sex.
Right.
This might not load.
Yeah. Anyhow, what's up with that? We're getting copyright infringement right now.
We're gonna say it. First episode removed.
Anyway, this thing is super duper phallic. There, look at it. Look at it over there on the right. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
It's not quite as bad as I remembered it, but it's pretty terrible.
Pretty. That's not the good profile there. The other profile shows it
worse. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird.
Oh boy.
Oh my. Look out. Look out below. Oh, too funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about Nikola Tesla. It does kind of, it can kind of segue into something that I had been thinking about a little bit this week, though, because it metaphorically involves coils and not so metaphorically energy and things of that nature. Let me read my notes real quick here, because I did write up a line about it just to kind of capture my thought at the time that I was thinking it. So just thinking about, like, you mentioned intention earlier, and kind of shifting energies and things of that nature. And I think it's interesting that we use language like that, when we speak about something that we are doing, or that where we're putting our focus, we're directing our energy towards that. Um, that there has to be more to that than just, oh, I'm gonna work at that. Like, I think that there's
Mm.
it, more behind it than that. Um, and so with that, uh, love and hate, things like that generate energy,
Yeah.
um, 100%. And, again, people are like, oh, well, yeah, whatever. But I don't think people fully understand, like, how much energy that can really create. Um, and the reason I got to thinking about this is because Rush Limbaugh passed away this week.
Mm.
Right, rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh. Never,
Yeah.
never, I never really listened to the guy. I was aware of who he was. Dad listened to him all the time. I remember going on road trips
Say
as
that's what makes me think. When I hear his voice, it makes me think of Dad, the radio
right.
in the basement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I remember when Dad would go on vacation with us when I was a kid. If we were road tripping and driving, like, from 11 to 1 or whatever, when we're in the car, man, it's Rush Limbaugh on the EIB network. Like, that's what we were listening to. We were listening to Rush. And so, I don't really have an opinion on the guy one way or another, whatever. But I guess that Democrats and liberals and progressives absolutely, really, 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 really don't like the guy. Um, so, when he passed away this week, everybody was rushing to show how much they were a good person by dancing on the, you can't even say grave, by dancing on the lukewarm body of the deceased.
Yeah.
It was really something wild to see, because I just don't know that, I don't think I've ever done something like that. And it's weird to me to rejoice in somebody's death.
Mm.
To see people saying the world is a better place today. I'm like, what? Really?
Mm.
I don't know. Um, and it was interesting to me because, again, these people were like rushing to, no pun intended, to see, like, who could be the ugliest and nastiest, and I'm just gonna stick it to these people, and that'll really show them, and it just made, there's a phrase, I want to say that Mark Madden, the local sports shock jock, put it in my head, where he always says the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference.
Mm.
And he's right. And it kind of goes hand in hand with that phrase, there's a thin line between love and hate, right? Which
Yeah.
kind of explains, I don't want to say kind of explains, but it's interesting how you can be quicker to be nasty to people that you're close to than
That's
to
true.
somebody that you're not, right? Because you love them, but that love, that fire that you have for them, that passion can turn to the other side at the drop of a hat,
For
right?
sure.
Because you have a lot invested. But so the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Like, if you're indifferent, there's nothing there. So when I'm thinking about, like, things that happen in this country and the way that the media stirs people up and stuff, and I've heard a lot of different people talk about this, they're creating energy,
Mm.
right? And they are creating energy. And what happens is everybody, in this binary world, especially now, right? So many people are running on these binaries,
Yeah.
that everybody is pitching in on this, because the left is saying, I'm right about this, and they're like, I love people more, or whatever. And the
Right.
other the right are like, I hate you more, blah blah, and it's just this constant. Both sides are feeding this bigger thing that I don't think that they really understand. And more to the point, the people that think that they're doing any good by tossing this hate out there, they're serving a valuable piece in charging the coil.
For sure.
Right? Charging the proverbial metaphorical coil. And the way that people could, on both sides, right? The way that people on both sides could make things chill and let things kind of dissipate would be to start showing some indifference. Right? That would be a way to break the circuit. Because love and hate keeps the circuit together. It keeps the coil running. It keeps it charging. But if you throw that indifference in there, all of a sudden, it's shorting everything out. And I think that's something that I was kind of thinking about too, because Jack Murphy and Hotep Jesus were talking about the AOC stuff. And Hotep Jesus was like, if people would just not even said anything, just let her have her crying girl line moment, nothing would have come of it. Right?
Yeah.
But what happened was everybody that hates her charged that coil up, and they started revving it up, and then that brought everybody that loves her out of the woodwork, and that coil just started.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, man, like, it's
got an electrical storm.
Yeah, and if the people that hate AOC had just been like, she's a lying turd, of course she's a politician, it's what they do, there wouldn't have been. It's almost like the Streisand effect, like you make a big deal out of it, that makes it a big deal. You're making a big deal out of it.
she is the Trump of the conservative, like, mainstream media. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All the mainstream kind of conservative pundits throw their, daggers at her whenever she makes a statement. And back and forth keeps on going back and forth, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's so sick and tired too of how, like, I thought it was a good point. I think it was Jack Murphy that was saying that, like, the right is so reactive. It's just focused on what did the left do today. They wake up the next morning, what did the left do? It's like they're a dance team, and the left is leading, and the right's following. That's just that's it.
Well, and it's interesting too, because that's that's language that Owen Benjamin's been using for a couple years now, right? Because I had told you that was more of the reason why I don't watch Crowder so much anymore, right? Because I still respect the guy. I still think he's somewhat funny.
Yeah.
But it's tired, like, and that's what Owen says even today about people like Ben Shapiro. Every day his shit is, so this is America. This is what we're doing now. This is what's happening. And it's like, bro, grow a pair. Like, it's happening because you're sitting on your ass being a bitch. Like, it's happening because you're sitting there saying, oh, so this is what's happening. This is America. This is what's going to happen. Yeah. You sit there on your ass. That's what's going to happen. Get up and do something about it.
He's a leader. He's a you know what I mean? Like, we need leaders. People need leaders. Both sides need leaders, not just people that are mouthing off BS. It's like, like that's not helpful to just constantly be talking about the most outrageous thing of the day.
No, and two, it's when the right's getting up every day and saying, oh, do you see what the left's doing? Do you see what the left? What happens there too is, do you think that the left cares that you're pissed about it?
That you're outraged?
Do you think that they care? Do you think that they're going to get up one morning and be like, you're upset by that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll change that. Like, do you
Yeah.
think that's going to happen? No. Like, what you're doing is you're enabling people on your side
Yeah.
to play you for the fool. You know, you aren't holding people on your side accountable.
Yeah.
You're too busy watching what their team's doing, and you're not paying enough attention to your own house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why stuff is getting out of hand in your house, not because of them. It's because of you, because you're not holding people accountable.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been saying for a while. You know, people aren't holding their own side to account.
Yeah.
They're trying to hold the other side to account. And you can't do that because
Well,
the other side doesn't
I will
care
say
about your account.
they I do think, at least more than ever before, some people were trying to hold more accountability in this at least most recent election, and it did culminate in things that some actions that were very uh, unhelpful to anyone that might want to have justice in certain places in the world. But um, I don't know. I do think there was certainly pushback on political figures, about on both sides, and specifically I'm thinking on the right as well, right, where the left is never going to check themselves. I do think the right sometimes does. I guess is where
I don't know. I don't know. Trump could have walked out on Fifth Avenue and shot somebody, and people would have supported him.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to think about it, Jeremy, that if you're a man where the Secret Service is telling you that we're not going to be able to protect you anymore because the deep state says that, you're screwed. So you're on your own now. I don't know if that's the truth, right? But I'm just saying, if you were a true outsider,
yeah,
and
let's not
the whole thing is, and everything is, as if everything's been already kind of flipped upside down, right? It's post November, and you're, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just think that one person, I'm not going to put all my eggs in the basket and think that he should have done all this great stuff. I think he did more than I ever would have expected a president to actually do. And
I don't have a problem with anything he did or didn't do. I'm not sure how we got to that point from talking about people holding their own accountable. I think that he did a lot of things that people turned a blind eye to, and that's what I'm talking about. And I guess maybe that's what you're saying is that, oh, well, there's not much he could have done about that. Well, I don't care whether he could have done it or not. I care about the voices of the people not being fooled by what's going on.
I'm saying I think that people thought that by supporting him, they were holding the Republicans accountable. You know what I mean? They thought that he was bucking the establishment Republicans. And so by being a Trump supporter, you weren't a Republican. You were, you were trying to sort of take over the party and reestablish it and all this stuff. And, at least that's was the mindset of that, I think.
Yeah, well, and I guess that's my point is that people have to be sharper. You have to understand that there's a little more nuance to it. You don't just go along because with everything just because you think that he's the best option and what he's doing is in your best interest. I guess you got to kind of think about it on a case by case.
I guess I disagree that I don't think I think the whole idea that Trump supporters were blindly following him. I think some for sure, but I think that there were a lot of, I think more than might be given credit. There was challenging to him doing things, like when he did certain things, there was pushback from certain members of his supporters. You had people like Cernovich that almost turned on him entirely by the end.
I Cernovich is Cernovich is a court jester. He's not he's not a true. He's out there to make money. He has no principles. I don't trust Mike Cernovich, you know, further than I could toss his ginormous right arm. Um, I don't, and I don't know him personally. He might be a great guy. He might be the most honest guy on the planet. He doesn't come across that way to me. I think he's slimy as heck. I think he will do anything for a buck. I don't think that he has any principles at all.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I just.
Well, then you could toss out other people, I guess. Individuals, I guess, was what I'm saying as an example.
So here's
challenged him.
Well, yeah, but to me, it's not even like I don't give a darn about any personality or who they support. I care about people that I know and that I talk to. I'm worried more about the common person because I don't really trust most of these media people. I think most of them are grifting to a degree, right? They're playing extremes, and I don't know where any of them
somewhat are. But I mean, you got to realize that everyone's trying to make a living too, so there's angle,
right,
yeah, no doubt,
but I think that some of them are a lot more so, that individual being one of them. But the other thing I want to say too is that there is no such thing as the deep state. There's the state, and that's it. There's nothing deep about
I disagree with that.
No. You can disagree all you want, but the state is the state is the state, and the state.
Sure, but there's levels to the state.
I don't really think there is. I think the state. Well, so tell me.
There are people that think that they're doing good because they're a government worker, and then there are people that think they're getting, inside deals because they're a government worker, and then there are people that think that they're getting inside deals, and then there are people that are murdering children, and then you know what I mean? Like it goes up for sure.
But it's all the same entity.
Yeah, but again, Jeremy, now we're getting into the semantics of describing stuff, right? Because if you want to talk about we can say that the deep state are the key players that are the most powerful entities at the top of the state chain, I guess.
But that's the state. They're the
state.
Sure,
I would agree with that. But we don't need to. But why? I don't point in trying to delineate that.
Well, because I think it's important, because when you say that there's a deep state, you're indicating that this thing is salvageable. You're indicating that we should put faith in some of these politicians because some of them are white hats. And I don't think that any of them that are out there right now are white hats. Maybe 2 or 3 of them out of the 700 or whatever are representing us, are literal white hats. And that's it. And that's why, to me, there's no deep. It's the state. The state is corrupt as it gets. And I understand that there are some blindly going along in the FBI. Some guy is bringing down some horrible, murderer, child rapist. I get it, and I applaud that guy. But he's the state, and the whole thing is the state, and it's all corrupt. And unfortunately, that guy needs to lose his job because the whole thing needs done over. I think it's too far gone. And that's why I don't like, to me, saying that there's a deep state insinuates that there's a salvageable part of the state. And I just don't think there's a salvageable part at this point. That's where I'm at. And I like that. I'd prefer to put that message out because that's my negotiating point when I come to the table with government talk. My starting point is no government. That's what I'm aiming for, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, hey, you got me in agreement there. I mean, heck, I'm the one that I'm anarcho-capitalist. I agree 100%. I think the state is the state. There's no doubt about it. But
yeah.
I think that if you want to discuss things in very careful terminology, it's important if you want to describe things correctly. Term deep state is something that does exist just by its nature, but I get what you're saying, that if when people sort of hear that as a as sort of when you say that word in a lot of places, the vibration that people receive and interpret is that it is sort of the malicious portion of the state.
Mm-hmm.
As and I get what you're saying there, but I come from the same standpoint as you, where the base premise is that the state is all malicious.
Yeah.
So where I was sort of
another,
like, what does it matter if it's the deep state or the state? Well, yeah, it's all.
yeah.
So we can talk about the deep
Right.
state separately from the whole state as well.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that it kind of does too subconsciously, and maybe this is another reason to try and do away with using that type of term, is that I think that it kind of every time that you use that term with somebody, it kind of subconsciously gets into your head and theirs, that there's this unbeatable entity, right? There's this unmovable, unbeatable entity that is seated in our system, and that's just how it is, and that's just how it's going to be, and that thing is there, and I don't know, and I guess that saying, just calling it the state, that's kind of depressing too, because if you feel like the state is on your neck, I mean, that thing's always there,
State of being.
Yeah, but I don't know, like people that do have confidence in the government, when you say something like that, like, oh, it's the deep state, that's got to be discouraging to them, right? To feel like there's some sort of deep-seated element that is constantly there, that is outside of our elected officials, that navigates in and out of private corporations and makes all kinds of seedy deals with foreign entities and stuff, hypothetically speaking. That's
hypothetically. I get what you said. Hey, let's try this. So we've talked about in other episodes that haven't been on YouTube, but maybe eventually we'll try and get them on. That words, right, have meaning, this power to them, and that the terminology that elites try to enforce or try to impose on us, has a certain sort of power that they're trying to use on us. And so maybe you're right. Maybe that is a term that's sort of like what is just out and about. Let's try to, because I still think that there is a progression through the state, right? Like the state maybe elected state officials maybe get kind of recruited into then the federal government, and then you're like then you're a key player, you're an insider and all that stuff. So I want a way to be able to describe sort of the.
Well, I think all you have to do is,
what's the better term, I guess.
I think you just talk about career staters, or career politicians, career public. What do you call somebody? What do you call somebody?
It's not even the elected ones, though. It's really right. It's the
the
State Department and the CIA.
So what do you refer to those individuals? Are they're not public servants, but they're public employees, career public employees? I think something like that.
Something like that.
Just all you have to do is indicate that there are people that are there for a long time, even if they're gone, that are still involved.
But how, for example, in that sentence that I used it, I can't recall how I used it recently, but I was trying to use it to refer to sort of
I think you could refer to it as maybe like the entrenched guard,
or I like the term that the cathedral too a bit.
I like the cathedral, yeah.
I don't know exactly what all that entails totally.
I was going to say that I think the cathedral plays more to the media aspect of it, I think.
Gotcha.
But it does. I think that and I don't want to speak on behalf of anybody who's coined that term, because I've never heard them fully speak to it. But I think it may also entail, like, the whole of progressives to a degree, that type of ideology.
Sure.
I just don't know that it's quite accurate for what we're looking for here. We'll have to think about that. But another thing I wanted to bring up was, it was interesting because you brought up language and how language, there's certain ways that they want people speaking and things like that. So, allegedly, conspiracy theorist was a term put out by one of these agencies. And it was put out both to demonize people, as well as, I believe I heard this, that the second part of it was also to, kind of try and reinforce in people's minds that this type of stuff could in fact be happening.
Oh.
Right? So what if in this day and age of information spreading at the speed of light around the world, what if that type of a term, like deep state, is something that was propagated by some sort of agency as a psyopish type of thing, if those things exist,
Sure. Well, with the whole existence of the letter QRS, that whole segment, they had to, in my opinion, they would have had to kind of set up maybe a lot of terminology to sort of maybe, direct and lead. You kind of would create the terminology and seed it so that you could direct it and kind of control the flow of that information.
The narrative, control the narrative. And that's a really good point too, because with that one there, who knows how long that has really been brewing. Something like that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And you're right, like the
because
language
they thought
that's involved with a campaign like that, like, man, people don't understand. People don't realize, people don't understand what's going on with psych. I don't want to say the term. They don't understand that stuff is real. Like, it's, there's
Sure.
those types of things happening, and that's a fascinating thought.
Well, and just because the whole idea was that the deep state was taken over, right, and that they were that the heroes had taken it over, and that it was a trust plan, because from the inside out it's being resolved.
I wonder when the first time that term came out was.
Be interesting.
I wonder when the first instance, because it has to have been within the last 7 or 8 years, for sure, and maybe less. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I feel like that's a much newer term, because for a long time I've heard people talk about, career people that are float in and out of public and private service,
Right.
But there really wasn't like that. I mean, it was always the military-industrial complex, right?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, sometime in the last several years, this term deep state came around. And
I feel like it's been in fairly recent terms, perhaps since September 11th, that like the whole continuity COG stuff was like written up and all that, because like isn't that sort of like really the real entrenchment in the like kind of law of the whole idea of kind of this sort of behind the scenes continuous established
the FISA courts and all that.
Yeah. And I don't know, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure, but
I don't really care to know, to be honest, all that much. I'm over it.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's interesting. It's fun to think about, but in the grand scheme of things, no, don't really care. Much more worried about thinking about when I'm going to start my seeds inside for my garden this year.
It's coming up, man.
I was going to say, coming up soon.
Exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, we went out and I happened to cross the local gardening supply store like the weekend that they got seeds in, and so Lane and I ran up the next day. I mean, it was already pretty picked up. I mean, it wasn't
Dude,
bad, but I asked
it's
I asked
crazy.
I asked the lady at the cash register. I was like, "So you guys just got those in?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "They're going fast, huh?" She's like, "Yeah, I've already had a lot of people in." So, but we
Yeah.
got I think we got everything we wanted. So, yeah, it'll be fun. Good
Get a little more even if you have the
time.
information, because dude, the seeds are selling like you would not believe. Place
Yeah.
I normally buy from, they actually halted all orders to any home growers, and they were only selling to commercial growers for like a month
Wow.
and a half, probably.
Wow.
Yeah,
Huh. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, seeds are going to be the new Bitcoin.
probably, man.
uh,
At least heritage real varieties that will reseed and be able to grow,
yeah.
more seeds and not be sterile after one generation.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I have. I guess that's probably part of the reason I'm not overly worried about getting more, because I mean that is my plan, is to be able to get seeds from these, and I mean
Yeah,
that's the
dude.
best way to grow your food is,
Yep.
as you grow and you keep getting seeds, they adapt to your area, to
Yeah.
be optimal for growing in your area. So, uh,
And it's
yeah,
it's actually rather easy. I didn't realize how easy it really is.
it is. It is. Yeah.
You could just basically take a paper bag and just like put the end of the plant or the flower like into the paper bag and just like it's pretty much good to go. Like it'll be good to go in that.
Yeah.
Short and
I haven't figured out how to do lettuce yet. Lettuce is kind of weird looking, and I'm not sure how I can't tell when it's right for the seeds to come off.
gotcha.
So I'm not sure. At least what was that? The romaine? I think that was the romaine I was growing last year.
I was gonna say
Um,
the romaine that I had grown, it similar to what you said. It had like a really weird. It came up with like little offshoots and then
yeah.
flowers,
Yep.
and I thought that it might get like that kind of like a dandelion, sort of like the little puffy stuff with the seed pod and kind of blow off, but it never blew off. It like almost like stayed on, and
Are you supposed to take
eventually I
it?
went and kind of picked it, and I realized you could like pick it off.
Was it like the flower petals? Or those the seed? Do those become the seed?
They do, yeah. The flower petals will become the seeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just let them grow again this year then. Yeah. All right. Huh. Well, hey, we've gone a little
We
bit
should
over the
wrap it
time.
up. Yep.
Yeah. But first live broadcast, woo woo. I think it went pretty well. Good chat, good times. Um, again, spread the word, tell your friends, like, subscribe, comment, interact, tell us
Tell
stuff.
us what you think.
Tell us what you want to hear us talk about. Suggest guests. I make no guarantees about guests, but it would be fun to figure out how to get some guests on.
For sure.
And yeah, if you want to be a guest, hit us up. Drop a comment, subscribe, like, thumbs up, all that stuff. And we'll do it again next week.
Indeed. We'll see you all next week.
Love you, Jordan. Peace out, everybody.